Hello, dear patrons. Welcome to yet another one of our little AMA interviews we have with the cast members of Camp Havenside. As I've said in the other ones of these, it's been about a month since we're at. Well, actually, currently it's been more months since that. But this project that was 8 years in the making, I sort of, after its completion, started thinking about the breadth and the scope and the change. It went from, the original drafts to the audio version and everything in between. And in the process of thinking about that, I also sort of was wondering what other cast members think about that, given that it is no longer, just me working on it. Once I put it into full cast, it was, it was the whole shebang. So I also figured you guys might be curious, and I was lucky in that you were curious. And so you submitted a variety of questions. I've got them pulled up here. And today we're going to be talking with a very unique member of the cast of Camp Havenside, because it is none other than my beautiful wife, Onnika Hanson, and a performer who's done multiple things, professional singer, trained in acting, all that kind of stuff, and also portrayed Judith Gray in Camp Havenside. And we're going to be asking you the questions that you sent today. The first one is a question from me, though. It's pretty simple, which is, how are you today?
Hi.
That's a good answer.
I'm good.
So the first question that the patrons submitted was, how was working on Hemophobia different than working on other podcasts, or I suppose any artistic projects, theater shows, that kind of thing?
Hemophobia was my first podcast that I've done.
Your incarnation, right, a little bit?
Oh, well, it was still with you. So
yeah,
it felt
it
felt very similar. So it was my first, it was my first podcast I've done. It's different because, mainly with podcasts and especially with me living in your home, it was, I got to hear every step of the way. I got to see everything. And honestly, like with all the other actors, I know they received the scripts ahead of time, but I just kind of was like, okay, we're doing this now. What do you want? With some scenes, like the scene with Malcolm, I definitely got that ahead of time and read that, but it wasn't, like, oh, let's rehearse, let's do this thing, let's have this huge rehearsal process. It's like, hey, let's talk about it a little bit and just do it and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. There was very much like, with the recording of the other actors and such, like I had to like send out the scheduling thing like ahead of time, but with you it was mostly just like, are you free on Saturday kind of thing? And so we just kind of set it up. That I do feel like that adds kind of a bit of spontaneity to it a little bit, which can be good in some regards. But yeah.
Also, I think just because it's just voice, I know voice actors probably do get a script and they read it over and they probably rehearse, but also I wasn't doing anything like, I wasn't through the entire podcast. I wasn't doing like these huge, massive scenes. So I think that made it easier.
That is true. It's something actually I feel slightly guilty about with Judith's character in particular, because Judith is among my favorite characters I've ever written. I really, really enjoyed making her. But whenever it came time to like actually compile the lines for scripts and stuff for people, which I made one for you as well, it was like I realized I was like, oh, Judith really is not. Well,
you killed her off.
She doesn't die. She just
She does.
She doesn't die. Maybe a piece of her does, I don't know.
She might as well be dead.
Yeah, dead inside.
She wishes she was.
Sadly true.
After all the shit you put her through.
Actually, tangential perhaps, but it just reminds me of, and we've talked about this multiple times, or I've mentioned it multiple times, but we always have the unique experience of being like, I always the unique experience of like, oh, when we talk about what we'll name our kids kind of thing, I'm like, well, the best names that I usually think of are the names that I typically give my characters, and I don't really want to think of the horrible things that I put my characters through when naming my child, so there's that. So the first question submitted for, well, I guess actually the second question submitted by the patrons was, how did you find your character's voice?
You told me. Kind of. You said you'd imagine Judith's voice deeper and raspier and more of a lower vocal fry, sort of. And that's how I sound when I wake up in the morning, so I kind of was just like, okay.
It is true. I recall us spending lots and lots and lots of time, workshopping the voice to try and fry it as much as possible, because that's not typically how you talk. Because you're
I'm a singer, so I can't talk in vocal fry. But after I wake up, having smoked a lot the night before, yeah, I tend to sound a lot more like this when I wake up in the morning.
That's true. That's true, and it's funny too because like listening back to it personally, it's strange for me because it's like, because you just do not sound in the show at all how you do in actual life. So, but I guess that's kind of that's the nature of it.
I mean, I guess that's good.
Yeah, I guess that's what's desired. To sort of take that same question, a little bit of a different angle. Another question that was submitted was, what about your character did you most connect with? I guess on like a personal level type thing.
Probably being shut out and not really having friends and depressing. But like being in school and just like trying to connect to everyone else and not being able to. And just being, not because of something, because the thing about Judith, I mean, yeah, she's kind of bitchy at times. Yeah, she's like, but there's nothing actually bad about her. It's just the fact that she doesn't live her life like everyone else does, so they don't want to hang out with her. Yeah. It's really it. So it's like, she's rude because no one wants to hang out with her. She's mean because like, she doesn't have anyone to talk to. Like, if they were talking to her, I mean, I know she'd like welcome them in and like love to like be friends and she'd be really sweet, but it's just like she doesn't live the same life, so they don't want to hang out with her. And like when I was in school, I was like got really good grades and like all this stuff, so people were like, oh well, she doesn't study. Oh god, I have to sneeze, I'm so sorry.
You're allowed to sneeze. This is permissible.
Maybe I don't.
Go on.
Anyway, because I like got really good grades, and at least in elementary school was actually fairly easy for me just because I understood it, so I got it fast and I could just go. But then because of that, I think a lot of people, and I went to a charter school where the expectation was that you got really good grades.
Yeah.
So there were some people like in the popular group that didn't like me because they were jealous of me and because it was easy for me. So they didn't hang out with me for that reason. So it's just, I guess I connected to that. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a different way I am, a different way I live my life, and therefore no one wants to be my friend. It's like,
yeah.
Like, it's nothing about me. And so then once I got to high school and I started being a theater kid, and I was like on the same level as everyone else, then I started getting friends, which is stupid.
Yes.
But it's like, I think also high school people just matured. They were like, you know, yeah, we had a friend who got a 36 on her ACT, but also like we didn't kick her out just because we were jealous. We didn't care. Like, I guess when I went to my charter school, everyone cared more. So I think with Judith, everyone cares more because everyone cares so much about how they, at least, I don't know, I never went to church camp, but how I understand. And in high school too, everyone just cares about so much how they look. So if you're friends with the person that's slightly more religious or like a little bit snotty, it's like, oh, well, you must be snotty. And it's like, but I'm not. Like, you can't just make those connections.
Yeah,
so,
clique mentality and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think Malcolm certainly plays a role as well of like, you know, kind of forcing Judith into a certain mentality that she doesn't necessarily want to have, but
exactly.
Yeah, it's all kind of put on her. That was kind of the thing with Judith that I think the reason she's one of my favorite characters. But your perception of Judith at the beginning of the story is very different after some of the story has elapsed, because initially she just seems just kind of judgmental and rude and just, you know, a bit bitchy. But the longer the story goes on, the more you see that almost everything about Judith and what she struggles with has been put onto her by somebody else. Be it perceptions of other people, be it the culture around her, be it, you know, her father in like a literal sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have you know that just about every person that I've conducted interviews with thus far has in some way had a sentiment of sympathy for Judith. Everybody's been like, "Sweet girl has my heart," kind of thing. So the story of Camp Havenside is very like strangely ambiguous. You of all people know this, having read it in its earliest drafts. But it's a very ambiguous story, and there's oftentimes like there's a lot of surrealness, possession here and there, even with Judith herself kind of later on in the story. How was it trying to perform in a story that was that, I suppose, had that tenuous of a grip on like literal reality? Because a lot of the scenes are hard to explain because it's like, for example, like Judith's prayer scene where she is asleep and she bursts into a kind of an unholy prayer while sleep talking. Like it's, that's not like, it's hard to put yourself there mentally because it's, possession, so.
In all honesty, it was actually very easy for me, but in acting school, we were trained, treat everything that you're doing as if it was totally real. Everything that you do is 100% real to your character. If you are sad, and that's why comedy is funny. Because it's like, you drop a pencil, your life has ended because you dropped this pencil. And that's what makes it funny, because it's so dramatic. But that's also what makes like possession and stuff like that scary, because in that moment that person has flipped, and in their head they are 100% just screaming, like flailing for their life, and everyone else sees nothing, but they're fully on that, like, I'm about to die, I am not myself, something is attacking me inside of my head. And so it's like, that's why I took a class, comedy and tragedy, because they're the same thing. Technically, they both are incredibly dramatized things, but comedy is tiny things that shouldn't be that dramatic, just blown up. Tragedy are these things that actually are heart-wrenching, that are just like really brought in. So to me, it was actually easy, because it's just like, oh, hey, like Judith, everyone else sees this. I'm like, okay, well, Judith is possessed and she is praying, and the only way to get this out of her head is to pray louder. Done.
That's interesting.
So it's like, I guess that's how I see a lot of acting and how I saw a lot of that stuff. Because it's just, honestly, acting gets easier when you just make it simple. Yeah. And you just break it down. Because also, they say, like in acting school, you can't, like, if someone's like, oh, well, I'm manipulating, but I'm lying, but I am lying. Like, so I'm gonna, like, oh no, but like, that's when acting's not weird. You have to lie, and you just can have one emotion at a time. So it's like, if you're happy, but secretly sad, no, you're happy. Just be happy. And then as soon as you stop that word, flip to sad, and they'll see that flip in your eyes. That's all you need. So like, or in the voice, like, you can't be thinking about all these different emotions you have. You can just have one at a time. Because in real life, you only process one at a time. Like, even if it's 1 second, you're like, happy, sad, happy, mad. You're going through one at a time.
Yeah, like, even if there are multiple emotions or multiple psychological layers, it's still like almost like a binary expression. Like, it's just one at a time. That's kind of an interesting thought. So
I guess, sorry, I kind of got off track. But I guess that didn't really make a difference to me, because it's just whatever the character believes. It doesn't matter what the audience is saying. It doesn't matter what any other character sees. It's just that one character, and that's how you act it.
Yeah, I like that mentality.
Now I'm curious what everyone else said about that question, if they got that question.
Everybody got that question.
I'll go back and see it, but now I'm curious.
Yeah, I do like that answer, though, because I feel like it can be easy, especially, this is, especially for me, if I were to, when I do voice act, which I do very rarely outside of my own projects, and even in my own projects, like Sam doesn't talk a whole lot, but it can be easy to try and conceptualize the entire piece while I'm acting, but I think the more dynamic performances focus on just the performance as opposed to the whole thing. And it's actually kind of a good blessing as to why most people in Camp Havenside, just about all of them, really, actually, ironically, all of them except for you, did not know really everything about the rest of the story. They didn't have the entire rest of the story in their head.
No.
And some of them deliberately, like Kayla Tempship, for example, who played Grace, they deliberately did not gather any more information about the story than what Grace would know.
Yeah,
and it's for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, even in, when you do a play, you will know every part because you're in the play. Like, you're literally sitting there listening to backstage every time. But you can't, everything that's about to happen hasn't happened. Unless it's that one movie where it goes backwards or whatever. But, like, you don't know anything that's going to happen. So it's like you have to keep that mindset.
Yeah, I agree. I will say that prayer scene, that sleep praying scene, or whatever you want to call it, was one of my favorite scenes to direct because it was. I had to explain it in kind of abstract, or not abstract, but like experiential terms of like, what is Judith experiencing in this moment as an individual, not what's going on in the room, what's going on here and there, just what is going on in her head. And I remember there was like a lot of you went on for like a while with like the sort of delirious kind of laughter on the tail end of that, and I just kind of found a point to cut it at. But
you cut it?
Well, not by a lot, but a little bit.
Wow.
But you went on for like a while to...
Yeah, and I almost passed out.
That is true. I got it like 4 seconds before your laughter just turned to you going, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, because all I was doing was for like a minute, and I was like, I'm going to seriously pass out if I keep doing this. So I was like, I need to stop.
That was intense. Speaking of intense, what was the hardest line read that you had to do? What did you say? Camping intense.
Sorry.
Church camping intense.
Hardest line read. I know you probably think it was the scene with Malcolm. No.
Interesting.
Like, that was... Because that was just acting. I mean, it was just standard, acting. Like, I know, that makes me sound like I have a big head. This, like, really hard scene. Like, it was just acting. It was fine.
I know what you mean, though.
But it was, like, the hardest parts for me were, like, that laughter right at the end. Like, of the praying was fine, but it was the laughter at the end that was hard. It was the choir parts that I did that were hard. Those were the parts that were hard because don't have a scene partner. I'm doing all this by myself, especially the choir parts. I literally said, hi, can you leave the room just so I can like fuck with this? Like, that voice at the beginning. Yeah. That was probably the hardest thing because I was like, this isn't acting. This is more being a musician. I was like trying to take the vibe of the scene and like add noise to it. Like
that character is not a character. It doesn't have a name.
Exactly. It's not a character. It's just I'm literally just adding ambiance. But like that was the hardest part probably for me, and like the laughter. But the scene with Malcolm, I usually can't get into. Maybe I was stressed at work. I don't know. But, like, that was weirdly easy for me to just, like, okay. Okay, great.
I will say I was impressed with both you and Graham in that scene, but I was just impressed that you guys...
Also, Graham was scary, which kind of made it easier. So it was just, like, he was, like, scary, and I was like, Dad, I'm sorry. Oh my God.
And then between cuts, he was
like
normal.
Okay, now what?
Yeah. I was impressed with that because something you guys might not be aware of is that you and Graham had never met before. But that was the first time you and Graham met.
He said, hi, make me cry.
Exactly. That's the thing. It was just
make me weep.
Hello, nice to meet you. Let's do the most gutting thing ever. But I guess, like you were saying, that's acting.
Actually made it easier though, because I feel like in plays I've done where someone has to do something and like I have to cry about it, it's hard because I'm like, oh, it's just Dustin. I'm making that name up, but like it's just
about
Ben.
Dustin Parsons, who was also in Camp Havenside.
No,
Dustin, she's talking about you. So.
I've never met Dustin.
I know.
That's like oh, they're yelling at me. Oh, it's Ben. Whatever, like But it's like the fact that I never met him. I'm like I know he's a nice guy, but I was like, this random person's just yelling at me. It scares me.
It does kind of have a strange quality to
Cat.
it.
Sorry.
Ruby doesn't want to be on camera, apparently. I'm going to sing your praises a little bit, because the scene you allude to as being the most difficult, the kind of overture scene, as I've nicknamed it, at the opening of Camp Havenside, where there's you patrons will probably know it's Sam is half asleep on the bus, and it's this very large sound piece with a bunch of voices in the back, and Graham's voice is kind of going in the back, and then also there's singing vocals kind of harmoniously over it. All of those courtesy of Onnika Hanson. And something that also may have made it a little bit difficult for you is that I didn't give a whole lot of direction in that one.
No, because you hadn't finished it.
No, yeah, it was, yeah, that's...
You hadn't made the thing, so I had no back...
You had background.
Did I?
Yeah, because what happened was I was sound designing that overture scene, and I was like, it's good, but there is something missing. I just don't know, it just doesn't come together. That isn't working. And I was like, okay, well... I was sort of searching for inspiration.
And you asked me to do that.
Yeah, it was partially... I was somewhat inspired by a song by Lingua Ignota called The Order of Spiritual Virgins.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of, like, big kind of almost operatic singing on that song. And so I asked you, I was like, just kind of, listen to it. I gave you the headphones set up and all that. And I was like, just play through it and just, like, sing over it what you think would sound good. And, like... I kind of gave you a general vibe, but other than that, I kind of just said, all right, go for it, and I just left the booth. You
said I wanted to get bigger as it goes, and I went,
oh, yes.
Okay. Aces.
And that probably is part of what made it difficult, but I tell you what, man, as soon as I heard those vocals, I was like, this is fucking perfect. This is exactly what it needed. So if it was difficult, it was at least very successful.
Wasn't that good?
Indeed. So a question specific to you, specific to you. What sort of unique perspective, or at least a unique addition to your perspective, do you think there is, being the fact that you are my wife and you know me personally, unlike, nobody else in Camp Havenside knows me as well as you do, quite literally, so.
They better not.
But so
I have to put up with you, just kidding.
Put up with the horrors.
I know every single bit of the story. I ask every day, oh, what part are you at? Oh, what do you do now? I also read the original draft that you wrote when you were in high school.
It was right in my freshman year of college.
Oh, I read it right after you wrote it?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. It was terrible. That first draft, to this day, I
thought it was okay.
I think it is the worst thing I've ever written in my entire life.
It was fine.
I don't know. People who have read the first draft have been complimentary of it, but I was always like, I mean, first drafts are never that good, but I thought that one was really bad. Sorry, go on.
It wasn't. I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I was 20. I don't know. Did I know anything good? Who knows?
Yeah.
But I get to hear every piece, and I get to hear every idea, and I get to hear you randomly come up from the basement and be like, can you listen to this quick?
Yeah.
Okay. B, rehearsal and, like, recording is different, because I feel like it's harder. Personally, it's harder. I don't know if you think it's harder. Like, when we did that scene where we had to make the sex noises or whatever.
Oh, the rapture voice.
Yeah.
Rapture
I
voice,
always said that would have been easier with a stranger. Because I just wanted to giggle when I was with you, but also it just, like, it sounded weird, like, hearing you do that. But if it's a stranger, I was like, oh, well, I can do that with a stranger. I can do it. I don't care about strangers. Like, I'll do whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it's with you, I, like, feel kind of embarrassed. I feel kind of weird. Like, I actually care about what you think.
Yeah.
And I care about what another director thinks, but it's different. So it's like, also, I feel like rehearsal was sometimes more difficult because you put on, like, a director hat, and I'm not used to your director hat. And I'm like, hello.
Yeah, I do think I would agree that it makes it a little bit harder. The rapture that's a pretty good example of the rapture moans are my nickname for Gilly's quote unquote voice. Because Gilly's voice is a component of like two different pieces. There's the low moans and the wheezing with a bit of moisture on it. That's all me. But the what we're referring to is the sort of sexually painful, kind of tortured moans that come out of Gilly. And those, we made those basically. We just kind of got in the booth. I think we turned the lights out. And
because I said I can't look at you while I do this. I legit just said, I'm sorry, I have to turn these lights out and pretend it's not you. Because I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it helped me too. And
also, it did help me hear you because we had to breathe in and out at the same time.
Yeah, we had to do
so it helped me because I was like, if I'm looking at you, I'll just be too paranoid. But it helped me like just listen.
Yeah, I would agree.
Also, I will say sorry if I cut you off,
No.
but the other thing is just, I think it's hard for me to find something scary in the podcast. Like, it's hard just because I know your voice so well.
Yeah.
And I've heard your voice do so many things. So, I don't know, listening to the podcast, I'm like, it's my husband. He's talking. So, and also I don't know. Since I know you, like, especially if someone doesn't even know you at all, it's like, for all they know, you're a terrifying person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I see you every day.
That's a good way of putting it. What was it like listening to the finished product once all the sound design was in place?
It was interesting. I mean, the main thing was, I guess, like, the only thing going back. Okay, so the scene where Judith is sprinting everywhere and doing all this stuff and, like, running back and forth, I heard nothing. I just had, like, hey, scream here, do this, do this, do that. And I knew the scene. I read the whole scene, but it was, like, just snippets. Also, all the screams I did, like, 2 days later in my catering van.
Oh, that's true.
Well, because I was in the middle of Denver and the catering van, you were like, I need this. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. Hold on. And so I was like, could take a pause from catering, and I just went to the catering van and screamed.
I remember that.
And then came back and said, is this good? And you're like, yeah. I was like, wait, I want to do another one.
Yeah, that was
and you were like, please stop sending me sound snippets of my wife screaming bloody murder. I can't do this anymore. And I was like, wait, but I have a better one. Yeah. And you're like, stop.
I forgot. I think I literally said those words.
You did. You said, stop sending me this.
My wife screaming.
And I went, oh, but I can do better.
He
went, that's great. I don't care.
Yeah, I was like, because I could have been like, oh, no, let's get a retake on that. Like, do it a bit more like this. But at a certain point, I was like, I just don't want to have to listen to it anymore. Kudos to you for at least doing multiple takes, like, in the middle of a catering van in Denver, being willing to scream not once, but multiple times.
And it was like 8 p.m. So it was dark because it was winter. So I'm in the middle of downtown Denver going, is anyone around? Because if I scream, it's realistic. And people will be like, someone's dying.
Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe in Denver, maybe they wouldn't be.
So, and it was on the campus, the CU Denver campus too. So I was like, I can't do this. Anyway. Yeah. So I did like all these little snippets, like days apart. And then it came together. And I was like, oh, shit. There's stuff to it. Like, not just me. And there was like sound effects. And it was interesting. It was cool. It was nice to hear the finished product.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's also I told you this before, but I'll reiterate it. I learned a very valuable lesson, in particular with the scene between you and Malcolm, with you and Graham, which is just that trying to sound design that scene was very difficult for me because
I know
I think patrons you may recall, I think in like a behind the scenes post or something, I said something along the lines of like, let it be said that trying to sound design a scene wherein your wife is being brutally verbally abused is not a fun time. Because I always said it was like trying to sound design something while taking like shots of vodka or something, because I was just sitting there and I would like hit play, listen to it, and be like in tears, and then I'd have to stop and I'd say, okay, I need to move this part a little bit over there. Just the volume on that a little bit, and then we can keep going. It's just...
See, but now you know how I feel listening to the podcast, because it's like, that's the same thing, but switched. Like, because I hear you do this terrifying scene in the closet and then come out and say, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
Like, so it's...
Yeah. It's
funny.
It's the life of a horror creator is a strange one. Okay, well, we have covered a lot of territory today. And the last question was also submitted by our patrons, and I always save it for the last, which is, what is your ghillie plan, or rather, how would you fight ghillie if you came across it? And I will tell you now, we have had a diverse range of answers to this question. And Onnika's is the first non-verbal answer to that question.
Oh, are you putting this in non-video form too?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be funny.
Oh,
oops. That'll make a lot of sense to
those listening in audio.
Let me just cover
did
flip table sprint.
Yeah. She did pantomime karate. Well, yeah,
oh no. With my good looks.
I like that answer. With my dashing charm.
Just a ghillie. Don't.
Buy you a drink.
If you stop now, I'd really love it. I don't know.
That's a solid answer.
I know other people were probably way fancier, especially Mason did this, right?
Mason and Brooke.
Their answers were probably off the walls.
Well, they were very philosophical about it. And then Kayla was like, Kayla said that they would just kind of try to be sort of an exorcist, like hold the crucifix and the Bible, like they'd probably keep getting the words wrong and stuff, and like they wouldn't know what to do. And I think Jordan Reed just said he would lie down and wait for death.
Oh, fun.
That was his answer. He was like, I know myself, I'm not going to be able to. So.
Oh, I know my answer.
What's
you know,
answer?
Literally, first night, weird shit happened. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that they're like, let's stay. I'm like, streets that. Peace. Like, I'm out of here.
Well,
fuck this noise. Like,
well, you have Judith's father to thank for that, because Malcolm's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and he didn't choose to leave the church earlier, or have the church leave the camp earlier.
They say, oh, there's this weird cabin. Oh, that's creepy. I go, ha ha ha. Hey, Mom.
You wouldn't have survived the church camps that I went to, because I actually, this is a fun fact. I don't think I've mentioned this. In behind the scenes stuff before, but the abandoned cabin was a real place in a couple different church camps I went to. I went to Quartz Mountain Church Camp in Oklahoma, and there was a cabin that was. It wasn't. I'm not sure if it was a proper cabin, but it was like kind of this old building that wasn't used anymore. And if you went inside, like there was a bunch of like creepy writing on the glass that I think some teenagers had like broken in there and like wrote as a joke, but like they painted red paint like warning words and such, and that was your face is just telling the whole story right now.
See, I'd be,
and we'd like sneak in there like as a joke and stuff. So the abandoned cabin was very real.
Oh, I did that to some people. There was a.
You did what?
Oh wait, I can't remember. Was I the party pooper? I think I was the party pooper.
Hold on, I need to know the situation.
So basically,
in
sixth grade, there was like a sixth grade weekend trip. It was like a long weekend. We all went. Okay. The whole sixth grade class went up to the mountains for like 3 days. Worst 3 days of my life. But that's unrelated. Sixth grade sucked for many reasons.
That's for sure.
I hated everyone. Everyone was mean to me. And I was stuck in a bus in a cabin with all of them. And I was like, great. Can't wait.
Oh, God.
Awesome. All these people are just mean to me. I have to live with now for 3 days straight. But they like found this Polly Pocket doll that had been like half destroyed. So the people in my room were put the Polly Pocket doll on like the bunk beds of the other room. And they kept moving it when they weren't seeing it and trying to convince them that like it was moving itself and like it was haunted.
Yeah.
there comes a point where just stop. Like, it's just annoying, and they're just like, oh my God, no, it's so real. What do you mean? And they're just like, oh my God, like, it's not real. And they're like, it is. And they're just like getting kind of creeped out. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell service. If you want to call your parents, you have to go to the one cell phone or the one like phone in a place. Like, there's nothing. We're in the middle of nowhere. Also, a ton of people are getting sick because they're dehydrated. So this is just already a miserable weekend.
My God.
And then, so it's just awful. So these girls are like getting creeped out, but also just annoyed. And so they like came to me. They're like, "Oh my God, is it real?" And I went, "No." Like, I was like, "What do you mean?"
I like that your approach, even back then, was still very Judith. Just absolute disbelief in any of it.
Kind of. I guess that's why I kind of connect with her. I was like, she's just, I don't know, getting people to, I don't know, get shit together. But I was just like, these girls are getting creeped out. And they're like, oh my God, is it like actually haunted? Isn't that? And I just like looked at the other room, because my room was the one who was moving the doll and everything. And it was like each room had like 8 girls in it. God, it was the worst 3 days of my life.
This does not sound fun.
No,
this does not
it's
sound
awful.
fun.
But it was like, yeah, get a bunch of hormonal 6th graders to like cram themselves in.
Yeah.
Do it when we're in 3rd grade, honestly. Like,
yeah,
then we don't have reasons to hate each other yet.
Yeah.
But it's like the one room I looked at, I was like, it's not real. And then my room I looked at, I said, can you cut it? Like, can you stop?
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, if that doesn't make me like Judith, I don't know what does.
Fair enough. All right, well,
I talked about that longer than I did any other question.
That's okay. You have to think hard about it.
Haunted dolls. Haunted Polly Pockets found under beds. I don't know. It was a creepy Polly Pocket too.
I suspect so. If it
Like half its face was rubbed off.
Because
it had been under the bed for so long.
Oh, gross.
Anyway.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of territory
That's
today.
my one camp experience.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, well, I reckon we can, we'll call it there. Thank you very much, all the patrons, for watching and for submitting the questions. Yeah, if you have listened to Camp Havenside and you're curious about the person behind the Judith, this is her in the flesh, and she'll certainly continue to be in my projects in the future, hopefully not in scenes that I have to sound design and make me cry. So, there's that. But thank you very much for watching. We will tune in with you next time.